Week 3, baby. We are back with another 10 under 10 GPP podcast brought to you by the fine folks at DFS Army, talking about my 10 favorite plays, 5 from DraftKings, 5 from FanDuel. And why is my shirt so shiny on this recording? But I'm giving you my 5 favorite GPP plays. Let's go, baby, DFS Army. What up, everybody? It's your boy, Josh Thomas, aka DFSUpNorth from DFSArmy.com. You know who he is. We turn an average Joes into DFS pros, and we are back with week 3 of the 10 under 10 GPP podcast, where I'm talking about my 10 favorite plays, all projecting under 10% owned. Well, one might have just climbed up since we wrote the article, but it is week 3 in the NFL, and it has been a weird NFL season so far. We got lots of injuries. We got lots of teams playing well that nobody expected to play well. Good teams playing poorly. It's been kind of fun. All right. So let's get into it, everybody. Look at me here in a circle now. We are getting fancy up here at DFS Army. And we are coming off, guys, a pretty solid week. I'm pretty pleased that we were able to get our boy Daniel Jones. I mean, we wrote him up on FanDuel, but as you guys know, these are my 5 favorite plays. It goes for both sites, but Daniel Jones being in the Millie Maker on DraftKings says a lot, right? That you don't necessarily need A, the highest scoring QB, or B, the most expensive QB to be in the nuts, because the rest of your lineup can really come together. But let's recap DraftKings first. But before we do that, guys, use that code CRUNCH. You get an NFL week for $10. Insane deal. If you've ever wanted to try out DFS Army tools, you wanted to check it out, use that code CRUNCH. A $10 week, like $10. That's less than what it costs you to go to McDonald's. All right. And you get access to all the DFS Army tools. And then you know what? Make a decision on your own. You checked it out. It's not just, those guys don't know anything. It's not me sitting here telling you, I'm going to get this as free. But right, we got our core plays, things like that in the channels. And you get access to the Discord. You get access to the optimizer. You get it all. And you can be like one of our members this week who, jumped on the Britton Covey news, being the wide receiver 3, coming from something that we only shared in our Discord, and, take down 14K. Not a bad deal. So recapping last week, really strong week on DraftKings. What am I at here? 2.78 return on DraftKings. We'd like to be right around that 3 number, but a pretty solid overall week. Sam Darnold, 20.92 points, QB3. You might hear his name again. Looked really good against his former team. We got JT, was okay, not good, not great. He was RB7. Tony Pollard got some PPR points at the end, 2.57, not the best, but a guy that I think is interesting this week. He's not listed here, but with Tyjae Spears likely out, Tony Pollard becomes interesting against the Packers this week. Jamison Williams, wide receiver 19, didn't do as much. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, guys, that one hurt me. To watch Malik Neighbors get like 4,000 targets and Wan'Dale only get, 5-6 from Danny Dimes. That one hurt. But Daniel Jones, again, we had him as a FanDuel play, but he was the nuts QB on DraftKings. Ramondre Stevenson playing tonight, Thursday night, with no offensive line. Joe Mixon really bottled up, dealing with an injury. Disappointing Sunday night hammer. Brian Thomas, though. Guys, this is a name that you need to keep an eye on. He's in a primetime game this week. Otherwise, he'd probably be listed here. But 2 catches, 94 yards. He is explosive. He's going to continue to be cheap and a guy that can really smash. Like if he would have got that 100, he would have had even better value. If he would have, found the end zone, huge. So Adonai Mitchell, struggle bus, right? Struggle bus. But really last week was all about if you didn't have Alvin Kamara or Kyler Murray, you weren't winning nothing. All right. All right, here we go. Let's get into it for this week. And the guy that our ownership projections yesterday had Geno at 3.62. And apparently everybody and their mother realized that Geno Smith was the best value on the slate, which he is. And he's climbed up to 10%. That gets me a little concerned here, but I still do like him. He's averaging 19.9 points per game. That's 7th on the slate, priced 14th. Super strong points per value. Miami's pass defense has been like good-ish, but like Josh Allen last week didn't have to do anything. Threw it 19 times, 13 catches. It was the James Cook show. So they're a little bit of a paper tiger. People might be scared off by that red 1 in defense versus position. So I'm still high on him here. I think you pair him with DK Metcalf, or he's my preferred option just because I think he's a matchup nightmare for his boy Jalen Ramsey. You run it back with Devin Chain. It's sort of it's a pretty easy click this week, guys. I love him here. So next guy up, disappointing to write this up. I hate doing it. But Josh Jacobs is in a smash spot against the Titans. We get the potential that Jordan Love plays this week. If he is, he's going to be slightly limited with that MCL sprain, or they're going to run the Malik Willis offense again. And either way, that is great news for Josh Jacobs. Smash last week. They could lean on the run even more here. I get that it feels chasey coming off of last week, but like the spot, the ownership, the price, it's too good to pass up. You have to play some Josh Jacobs this week. Another guy in a great spot is James Conner. Highest total on the slate, getting a ridiculous workload. Just like there's nobody there to challenge him, right? Nobody's there going, man, we gotta, I'm gonna be taking snaps from James Conner. So I've got him at, what do we got here? 3, with the latest update, this updated to like 4% ownership. Everybody's playing Jordan Mason again. Everybody's going to play Devon Chain, Zach Charbonnet, Alvin Kamara coming off his big week. And I am just loading up on James Conner against the Lions defense. I think he has multiple TD upside. Wide receiver, another guy. Nobody's challenging him for touches. And even in triple coverage, Sammy Darnold is throwing Jay Jettas' way. This offense will come and go as Jay Jettas goes. This is a smash spot for him again. I get that the price is expensive, but when you play cheapies, like a Geno Smith or, as some of the guys that I'm listing on FanDuel here, you can easily afford Justin Jefferson this week. The floor is massive. We're not going to see that 94-yard touchdown or 97-yard touchdown every week, but you're going to get some results from Justin Jefferson. I don't think that 8,600 doesn't scare me off one little bit. Let's just check here. I'm looking in the background and see if we have an update on a Justin Jefferson ownership. I'm a little concerned that it might even be lower. Let me see here. I got to search. 5.61. So yeah, barely up a 0.5%. Like, that's insane, you guys. And if you want access to these ownerships that I'm looking up that are getting constantly updated along with our projections, you got to become that DFS Army VIP. Use that code CRUNCH, gets the NFL for a week. Quentin Johnston, he's the wide receiver 1. He had a terrible 2023 as a rookie, but he's really coming around. I think that the Chargers are, obviously a run first team, but going up against the Steelers, they're going to have to throw the ball. If they're going to throw it, Herbert's going to Quentin Johnston. The floor is super low. Right? We've seen this a couple times now for the first couple weeks, these speculative wide receivers, and getting them at, they could potentially, right, have a 3 or a 4 or a 0, right? But I love the upside. Shout out to my boy Bobby Wow, Daniel Jones in the Millie on FanDuel a couple of years ago with, most of these guys still in the NFL besides, Sterling. David Johnson, man, he was a stud, right? All right, over to FanDuel. And this is an ownership I got to check. Because I was shocked when our initial run of ownership came out and Derek Carr was only 3% owned. My guess is that that's going to go up through the week, but it is such a no, he's less owned on this run of ownership. People, what are we doing here? Like, my goodness. Clint Kubiak has revolutionized this offense. He is a genius. He's going to get himself a head coaching job because of how smart he is. And this offense has looked elite through 2 weeks. I'm so excited for Derek Carr, comeback player of the year. Him and Sammy D. You stack him up with Shaheed, Kamara, run it back with Barkley or Goddard. Like, you are well on your way to a lineup that I said sexy here, and it is because, like, I realize that Derek Carr and that word don't go together very often, unless you like guys who wear eyeliner. But he's looked great so far, and I am really excited about the Saints offense this year. So another guy that is coming way under owned that's looked outstanding is Sam Darnold. 1.9% owned, a little bit more expensive, 71 than he was last week, but against a tough 49ers D, he looked outstanding. He looks rejuvenated, reborn. Again, another guy comeback player of the year. Potential. This Texans D like Caleb Williams move the ball on them in the second half. Darnold can scramble. He has 25, 30-point upside when things are clicking, if he can maintain, if Justin Jefferson can stay healthy, right? He is dealing with a little bit of injury. I didn't talk about that, but he got that bone bruise or the deep bruise in his thigh. He'll be fine. He's going to play. But yeah, you stack Darnold and Jefferson and move on. And then you can run it back with Nico Collins, right? Or we might get cheap Cam Akers, right? Cam Akers in a revenge game. But yeah, I love the Vikings this year. I know that I am a fan, but I typically am harder on them than anybody else. And for fantasy purposes, I love Darnold this week. And I think you could even, it's scary. I think you could play the Vikings D. That's how good they are. That's how good they are and how good they are at turning the ball over. CJ Stroud is a stud. I love him this week too. But if you want to get a little funky, go with the Vikings D. That could be your Millie Maker D this week. All right. Zamir White just getting like the price and usage just make way too much sense. This is another one I want to check his ownership, just see if it bumped up at all. But he's not even on like the first page. Zamir White. Yeah, he's at 8.78. So he's up a little bit, but he hasn't got the usage of late because they have been behind, right? Now they're going against the Panthers, who are the worst team in the NFL, besides maybe the Bears. Sorry, Bobby. And he's going to get the rock. He's going to get a ton of touches here. I love Zamir White this week. 2 TD game incoming. You heard it here first. I said it. And I actually like somebody on the other side of the ball. There's nobody that's been more excited, that should be more excited than Adam Thielen about Andy, the Red Rocket Dalton, starting for the Carolina Panthers this week. He's been missed wide open. Like Bryce Young has just not seen him. He's overthrown him. It's been a frustrating, I think, a year and a half for Adam Thielen since he's left the Vikings. And I get that the Vikings weren't going to be able to pay him what he wanted, but this has got to be really frustrating, like, especially when he was signed with the Panthers, he talked about it. I believe that he is an honest man, a man of God. He does a lot of good things in the community, but for him to say that he thought the Panthers were like Super Bowl contenders, a little bit of hyperbole. And I get that you have to say that, but he's got to be kicking himself right now. But he does get Andy Dalton. We know who Andy Dalton is. He's going to hit Thielen in the slot. He's going to hit Thielen on those short routes. I like him on both sites. I think he's a great PPR play, but I think he's got really good touchdown upside this week. So I know a couple of guys have him as a core play this week. A couple of people I really trust in their NFL takes. So if you want to know who our core plays are, again, use that code CRUNCH. You get access to all of that, all the cheat sheets, all that jazz. And we have had 2 weeks now where I haven't listed a tight end in this article. And now I am finally finding a pretty good option, and that is Dallas Goedert. Though George Kittle potentially being out here, which it sounds like he's going to be, we could see that ownership switch to somebody like Goddard. But we're talking about 6% owned, 4% when I initially wrote this article. We thought last week that we would see more of the 2 tight end sets, which we did. We saw Grant Calcaterra a ton. And we saw Goddard splitting up, but Calcaterra actually was the one who got some of the targets. So I do think we sort of see that come back to the mean this week with Goddard splitting out, getting some of those slot plays with AJ Brown out, and Hurts really targeting him here. They're going to need him against the Saints. The Saints offense has been great, and I don't think the Eagles defense has been that good or as good as they were last year. So Goddard is a super high-end tight end play for me on both sites, especially though on FanDuel at 5,800. So again, I want to give you guys a shout out. I super appreciate everybody who has been watching. We are right around 4,000 views every single week. That's been amazing to see. Comment who you like. I love the comments like last week, right? There was somebody commented like, why do you have to play the chalk? We were talking about Jordan Mason, and turns out, right? But I love to get deep into the sort of game theory of things. And if you want to, obviously we do that in the Discord as well. So if you're not a DFS Army VIP, you can leave me a comment in here. Tell me what you think. You think somebody's a bad play, whatever. Like I'm a big boy. I can hear it. And tell me your reasonings, because if you're right, I'll give you a shout out on the next podcast. So that's what we got. Again, use that code CRUNCH. I appreciate all of you. Have a fantastic week. 10 under 10, DFS Army, DFS up north. Cheers.